on. So what you can do as an individual is to also look out for non-commercial, non-profit oriented platforms and initiatives, to use them, to support them with some money, some small donations that you make, to get the word out to your friends, colleagues, and fellow students that these are also interesting models that can be used, and so on. So there's a difference that the single individual can actually make, but at the same time, I think a political difference should be made, and the nation states should direct public funds to such projects. So state subsidies would be very important. I also think that civil society can make a difference. So social movements, protest groups, and so on, they can exert certain pressures on internet corporations. So, for example, my idea is to establish so-called watchdog internet sites. There are already some in existence that document the problems that certain commercial internet platforms pose for citizens, consumers, and individuals. And if these problems are publicly documented, then it's much easier to exert pressure on these companies in trying to bring about change. So I think this is another step that can actually be taken. Another idea would be that there are also legal alternatives. So, for example, a major problem with Facebook and other platforms is that they are based on personalized advertising, as I already said, and most users don't know which data is being stored about them. For example, it's a good task for you in class, for example, to find out which data does Facebook store about you. So I expect that most of you have Facebook profiles. Maybe you could read the terms of use and the privacy policy, and then try to make a list of which data Facebook collects about you. Or the same, you could do the same with Google, and you will be surprised, for example, to find out that Facebook also collects data about you if you surf on other websites outside of Facebook, and they are using this data, mainly for advertising purposes. And you are not being asked if you agree that your data is being used for advertising purposes, but the legal alternative would be here to make a so-called opt-in option. This would mean that a law is passed that requires all internet platforms in nation state regulation to be, if you register, that then it's non-advertising based, and only if you agree to advertising, then you have to select certain options in the privacy options, and you have to activate the advertising options. Then advertising, your data will be used for advertising. So it's a more self-determined approach. You can self-decide what happens to your data. This is now currently not the case. Most Web 2.0 platforms are automatically using advertising and personalized advertising. In some of them there's an opt-out option, but it's very difficult to obtain in many cases. So, but there would be legal alternatives, and I think this opt-in notion is a very interesting phenomenon. If you're interested in works about this, then you could, for example, read a book from 1993 by Oscar Gendi. It's called The Panoptic Sword. Oscar Gendi is a professor emeritus at the Annenberg School of Communication in Philadelphia. You could also check out concerning privacy aspects of advertising the works by Joseph Turov, who is also a professor at the Annenberg School in Philadelphia. So it's a very interesting topic. Finally, there are also technological alternatives. So the internet could function in another way. So why should all data that we upload be stored on centralized servers that are controlled by Google, Facebook, and other companies? There's an interesting idea by Ebin Moglin, who's a professor of law at Columbia University, and there's a very good video by him of a talk that he gave. You can find it on YouTube if you search for Freedom in the Cloud. That's a very a relatively up-to-date new talk that he gave, and he's really developing the idea of how the internet can be alternatively organized. So it's an idea of an alternative internet with decentralized data storage, which is based on open source software. And I think it's really good, and it's really interesting to check out what he is saying here. So you see there are a whole range of possible alternatives, and I think the way how you can make a difference is that you, as individuals or also as a group, try to support such political, legal, economic, and so on alternatives, and to get the word out that there are already ideas, movements, and alternative platforms available.